Hello everybody and welcome back. Today's video is going to be about what is happening over the next 3 years. Lately, there seems to be a big curiosity of what's actually going on because so many people are coming up to me no matter where I'm at and just talking to me about everything that seems to be shifting and everything that seems to be happening. And a lot of people are taking this personally and a lot of people are taking this as chaos. But as I told you before, we just went through the jump from 2020 to 2025. And now we're going through the great push. And that's going to be for the next several years, especially the next 3 years. This next 3 years is really about like an inward journey. It's a structured inward journey of evolution. And the reason why this is so important is because this is something that humanity has to go through in order to evolve with the earth. As we've talked about before, if you're new to the channel, then I've mentioned this before in past videos. If you're familiar with this, you're going to hear this again. But as you guys know, that the earth has been transitioning into a 5D consciousness state. And in order for humanity to go with it, we have to evolve with it. And unfortunately, there are so many people that aren't going to evolve that are going to be leaving this planet. And that's by choice. Remember, everybody has chosen to come here. Every single person on this planet made the choice to come here. Some chose to come and leave. Some chose to come and struggle. Some chose to come and go through this evolution. And it's one of those ideas that we have to understand in order for us to transition with the earth. And this is very important for us because we have to realize that the next 3 years is going to be very internal. I know that I have had many clients over the last been a while. Many clients that have told me that everything seems like I just don't want to speak anymore. I don't want to be places. I don't want to be out anymore. Everything's internal, even with their husbands or wives or boyfriends, girlfriends, family members, whoever. Everything just seems to be internal, and this is a very important idea for us to understand. This is what the journey is. It's inward. It's not external, because what this is, it's not random growth. It's a recalibration period, and we have to be able to recalibrate our everything about us, from our internal to our external, our mind, our thoughts, our emotions, and everything is going to be recalibrated. And this is not going to be an easy idea. This is going to be basically an identity restructuring. You're going to lose everything about who you used to be or who you thought you used to be. You're going to lose friends, families, ideas, belief systems, etc. if you are truly on this inner journey. If you're not, then you're still going to be fighting these ideas. And the people that are fighting these ideas are probably not going to be listening to this podcast, or probably have already turned off this episode, and they're going to be disinterested because it's not hitting them, and because they don't want to let go of certain ideas. And so this identity restructuring, and I'm still going through it. You guys have known my journey the last 6 years with everything that's going on. It has been intense, and even still, even though my health is back and I got everything back, I'm still going through a lot of identity restructuring. I had a meditation the other day that just became so intense that the vibrational frequency and the dissolvement of my identity and the ego was so hard that it took me almost a day and a half to recover from it. My heart rate kind of fluttered over and over. I had signs of dizziness, and it was just one of those days where it was just like, all right, my body is adjusting, it's recalibrating to new frequencies, it's recalibrating, it's dissolving, and it came with a very emotional period. And what you have to realize is this is all about cycles. This whole next 3 years is all about cycles. Everything is going to go in cycles. So like life anyways, life is rhythm and cycles anyways, but you're going to notice that there's going to be periods of cycles where you're going to go in and you're going to come back out. You're going to go in and you're going to come back out. And these patterns are going to keep repeating themselves because this is how integration happens. Everything is layered. So nothing happens all at once. If things happened all at once, it would destroy your body because it would be way too much, and you would cease to exist. So everything has to happen gradually. That's why the earth transitioned gradually over a period of time. That's why we're transitioning over a period of time, because the physical form in this idea, in this third dimension, can't handle the sudden change. And so layer by layer, you're going to see integration, and that's the point of the cycles. You have to be able to acknowledge these cycles, and you have to be able to witness the cycles and go with the flow. When you fight the cycles, you're going to feel a lot more emotional pain, struggling. You're going to feel physical pains. You're just going to feel worn out, fatigued and tired. You're going to feel kind of like everything's at you. One of the things that I like to use best, because I know so many of us hate this noise, is nails on a chalkboard, right? And that's kind of how it feels like when someone's scratching their nails on the chalkboard. You're just gonna kind of tense up, and you're just gonna feel like like I just want to get away from here. And so we have to understand that this is rhythmic transformation, and we have to go with the flow. We have to allow. So last night, and I'll give this example. I was still kind of recovering from that meditation. My heart kept fluttering. I kept having dizziness. And one part of me wanted to go out and play pool. There was a small little pool tournament that was happening that's hosted by one of my friends. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I want to go out. I haven't gone out in a while and seen people, so I want to go out. And my body was just like, yeah, no, you kind of need to rest. And how it told me that was when I was getting out of the car from grocery shopping, I got a little dizzy and my heart fluttered a little bit, and I just felt all of a sudden chronically fatigued. And so that idea of going out already clashed with what the rhythm of the transformation, the layered integration that I was going through, said, hey, no, right now is a time for rest. And so what I did is I rested at home. I watched the movie Annie from 1982. I still love that movie. And I also watched Garden State. I love that movie as well. And I just kind of had a nice, quiet evening where I ate some homemade chicken soup, and I just sat on the couch and I just relaxed, and I just allowed my body the integration to become one. And today I feel a lot better. Today I gave myself the rest. I allowed the transformation to happen, and this is something that we need to do. So what's going to be happening with you is you're going to have to dissolve the old identity. This is important because I've had so many people be like, Raina, I feel like I don't connect to my husband or wife anymore, or my kids, and I feel so burnt out. I don't know what's going on. Like, I've been told that you got to put kids first and you got to do this, and I'm just becoming so chronically fatigued. And it seems like everything is just falling apart, and I just want to push away from everything and just say, fend for yourself. And I find that I want to do stuff for myself more. And that is an amazing thing, because one, that old identity of that you got to put everyone first, especially your kids, is totally false. You should always put yourself first, because even if you're sick or you're chronically fatigued or you're overworked, you can't be there for other people. And that's so important, especially your kids. Yes, it sounds great. You got to put your kids first, but no, you always have to put yourself first in a healthy way. And you got to be able to take care of yourself. You need time for yourself. You need time to be able to recharge and do the things that you need to do. And those old identity structures have to fall away. And when those start to fall away, you're going to start noticing that's when shadows come up. And this is when a lot of people kind of run the other way, is because, and I've had this many times as a teacher, where people come to me and they say, oh, Raina, I really want change. I really want to work on myself. I want to be like you, or people on TV, on Gaia that I see, or some of the famous YouTube people. And I tell them, I was like, well, you just don't wake up that way. You got to dissolve the identity. You got to face your shadows. You got to purify your emotional distortions. You got to rebuild these inner structures. You got to integrate new awareness, and the list goes on. And it sounds all fine and dandy until the shadow part. The shadow part is what gets a lot of people, because people have got it in their head that shadows are something to be afraid of. But shadows are the freedom. And that's why I work in the shadows. That is I am working always in the feminine. I'm always, and that's what I do for a living, is the shadow work. I work only in the feminine aspect. I do sometimes will work in the masculine, but there are people that you see, like I said, on Gaia and that work in the masculine energy, where they tell you the information and they tell you what's possible, but none of that's possible without the shadow work. So as great as all this stuff sounds with ETs and connecting to past lives and everything like that, none of it works until you do the shadow work. And so all of this is going to happen over the next 3 years. You're going to have to move from external validation to internal guidance. That is huge, people. You have to do that, and I'll repeat that. You must move from external validation and strengthen and move to the internal guidance system, because your internal guidance system is so far wise. And once you start listening to it, you're going to realize, and a lot of people don't like this when I say this, but everything in the world is a lie. Everything. All the belief systems, all the structures, everything. And it's made that way for you to get trapped up into it. So it causes chaos and emotions and hatred and judgment and pain and suffering. But it's only until you remove yourself from the gratifications of external that you start seeking. And this is huge. So you want to, and when that happens, what's going to end up happening is you're going to be kind of reducing the reactive behavior inside, because I used to be one of those. I'm a very passionate person, and sometimes I can be a little reactive, or I used to be, especially when I was younger. I would be like, and just blow up. And as I stop saying, well, I need to be this and I need to be that and I need to be this for these people and I need to be this type of person and once I got rid of that, all of a sudden I noticed it gradually, because everything started to change and my increase in conscious response. So now I look at things and say, okay, I see this person reacting. I know it's not personal, because everything that's done to us is never personal, no matter how painful it is. And I changed the way I lived. I re-referenced my living style. And that is huge. So the last thing I want to mention, because I know we're getting close to the 10 minutes, if not, we're over. But the things that you're going to feel is you're going to feel heightened sensitivity. You're going to be more emotional at times. Yesterday and the last couple of days, I just cried. I cried like a baby, and I know a lot of people don't think that about me, because they think I'm all this tough and I'm very strong. I'm very confident. But I allow myself to cry. I allow myself to break down, and I'll cry like I just heard the news that somebody died. And I allow myself such intensity, because that intensity also has the same intensity why I can see the things that I do, and it'll give the same thing to you. So allow the sensitivity, allow the heightened sensitivity to grow, even though it may feel uncomfortable at the time. But old systems, again, have to go away. You have to change your belief systems, dissolve it. You have to dissolve the ego. And what I mean by that is you have to have an ego, but you cannot have the toxic ego that's attached to everything. So when I say dissolve the ego, that doesn't mean never to have an ego. You have to have an ego. But what it means is dissolve the ideas of all the things you were taught, all the things you're attached to, all the emotional things that you created, all the judgments, all the limited belief systems, everything. Dissolve that form of the ego, and you'll start seeing that the changes in who you are. But yeah, it's going to be a very emotional ride. It's going to be in cycles, and allow this to happen, because if you fight it, it's going to make it worse, or you've already written in your contract that if you choose not to go on the ride and transition through 5D, or as best that you can through your evolution, that a lot of people are going to be leaving this earth because they've chosen that. So whatever the path that you've chosen, especially if you've listened to this video this long and you're here and you're growing, allow yourself this next 3 years of this inward journey. I'm telling you, it's going to be a little bumpy at times, because you guys know I always tell you the truth. But at the same time, it is a wonderful journey, and I wouldn't change it for the world. All right, everybody, I want you to, thanks for joining us. I got to thank you, right? But yeah, thank you for joining us, and I'll see you guys soon.